This week's video is all about the work that's put on in the background to make sure that everything happens on time and well. So this is like organizing and planning and ordering things. And so you'll get a little bit of an insight of what all I've been doing for the past few weeks. So let's jump right in. First thing I'm going to say is I am very organized and I love planning things almost as much as I love actually doing them. And so I am a lot, extra compared to a lot of other people. So what you'll see here is my 3 different planners that I use. And so my purple one that has flowers on it is all for lessons for the boys. And so letters, numbers, colors, shapes, social skills, life skills, that sort of thing is what you'll see in that planner. Then the small one is my workout and meal planning planner, and that includes gratitude and affirmation, water tracking, meal planning, and anything else health related for me. And then the last one that you'll see is with like other flowers is just the everyday day-to-day things for the homestead and for the videos. So in that you'll see anything for cleaning, anything for prepping, planning, doing anything with the garden or chickens or homestead in general. And things for videos that I'm doing. We'll say I take all of these plans and I will adjust them based on the day. For example, the other day I got a flu shot and I felt under the weather for a couple days. So I didn't get all of my cleaning done, but also there are days that the boys decide to change my plans, like with diaper cream all over their faces and their bodies and their hair and the floor and furniture and everything else. So while I make these plans, they are not 100% set in stone all the time. So another way that I stay organized is by making sure everything has its home. And I apply that both in my house and to the outside building. So for example, the machine shed for the first lean-to is where I put my car whenever there's bad weather coming, like high winds or sleet or ice or snow. This main part is where the tractor and the implements and any mechanical things for the farm is. And then on the other lean-to on the other side, that's like snow fencing and other kinds of fencing for around the farm. Then the other buildings each have their purposes as well. So we have the tool shed first, and then we have the wood shed, which has the wood, and the tool shed obviously has the tool. And then the garden shed has everything that I'll need for the garden. So I'll have potting soil and gardening tools will go in there. Seeds I'm planning on storing in the house, but during the actual gardening season, I'll have seeds out there as well. So this is my seed organizer. It is actually a photo organizer like from the craft store, and each one of these has a different kind of seed. I believe this is all sunflowers and this yellow one. And this is just other flower seeds. I have some seeds that don't fit in these containers so well right here. I have peas. The orange is the carrots. This is, the green is the carrots. What is the orange? Oh, other spring and winter crops because they're cold hardy. These two are summer. This one is also, the purple is also flowers, and then these are herbs that I have. The two pink are the herbs that I have. And as you can see, my seed box is already full. Each one of these is full all the way. And I just got more seeds, and I also have a few seed packets that I haven't put in here. So I'm gonna need a new organization
idea for my seeds very shortly. So I will figure that out probably this time next year at the latest, maybe at the end of this season, and share that with you.
So besides just the day-to-day planning and organizing aspects of the homestead, there are also things that have to be planned more thoroughly, and one of those is the garden. So I'm going to go through all of the steps that I've taken to plan out my garden and why I've done stuff with you. And then I will show you an example of a much smaller raised bed garden version that I've done in the past at my previous house. So I built up my garden. I didn't have a set space that I knew I needed or that I knew I had for gardening, but I knew what I wanted to do with my garden and then built on it. So what I mean by that is I had goals to start. And so those goals were to feed my entire family for a year, supplement chicken feed with fresh vegetables like carrot tops and other stuff that may not be edible for humans to eat, but chickens would love. And then I've debated the benefits of saving seeds versus purchasing seeds. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do yet with that, but that's part of it. And then I'm going to try various canning recipes to make for good, flavorful food year-round, and hopefully cut down on some of the grocery budgets. And then pollen for bees will be where berries and fruit trees and stuff, where those sorts of things come into play. So those were all of my goals with my garden. Ultimately, I would love to have all of those goals met. I'm not planning on that for this year, but eventually. So the first thing that I did was I decided how many people I wanted to feed, and so I decided on 7, and I came up with that number a couple different ways. The first one being we have 4 people in our family, so that automatically gets rid of 4, and those extra 3 we are foster parents. So if at any point if we have additional children in our home, if we get children in the near future, we need to have food for the whole family, for all of us to use. And then the other pieces, anything I won't use, I can just give to my parents or my brother or any other number of family members for them to use. So that is how I determined how many people I needed to feed for a full year. From there, I determined what kind of plants and vegetables I wanted to have in my garden. And the first thing is I looked at what I had and what I had in seeds already and what I wanted to grow for the full year. What did I know my family liked to eat? And that sort of thing. As I was listing out the vegetables that I wanted to grow, I just labeled them spring, summer, and then winter, fall, that I knew for sure would be over the fall months and into winter months. After that, I researched good pairs because in gardening, there's something called companion planting, and that is when 2 plants do well for each other. One might pull the bad pests off of another plant or prevent a fungal growth. And so I just researched that and wrote them down because that is going to kind of guide where I'm going to place my fruits and veggies, or where I'm going to place my veggies in my garden. Then I used the number of people that I was going to feed for a year, which is 7, to determine how many of each plant I need. And so that is on the right side, and it says the number of plants. And then the number of rows is how many rows I need in order to get that number of plants planted. And so it is a lot to read, so if you want to pause, you can. But that's just how I got all of these numbers. And from there, I looked up how many inches each row needs in order for each plant to grow appropriately, and that gave me the total width for my garden, which was way too big. So I cut down considerably because I don't want to use all my land for a garden. Finally, the last step then was to use the information that I had on the number of rows that I needed for each vegetable and spring versus summer crops to determine exactly where I was going to place each crop, each vegetable in the garden. And this last picture is just kind of a layout of what that whole back field beyond the garden shed is going to eventually look like. And it's going to have all the different kinds of berries and maple trees and the garden and grapes in my perfect world. So we'll see if that ever comes about, but obviously that does not happen. That's not happening right now.
All right, so now that we've talked about what exactly needs to go into creating the garden plan, I've made a raised bed garden plan example. This is similar to what I did whenever I did not have a whole lot of land for a garden and the ground was basically just clay. So I made raised beds, and they were 6 feet by 8 feet. And I knew I wanted tomatoes, peppers, zucchinis, carrots, cucumbers, and beans. And my goal was to supplement from the store and get fresh fruit. And I only had 4 people that I had to worry about because I knew that I could only take care of my family with this garden. And so, because I wanted tomatoes, I knew the spacing, based off of the spacing of the tomatoes, I had a full bed of just 6 tomatoes, and I planted marigolds all around the edges of this bed and this bed because marigolds are good partner flowers, companion plants. And then I put my pepper plants that I wanted next to my other tomato plants just for ease because I had just tomato cages that I used for both the peppers and the tomatoes. Then I did zucchinis in this bed, and I planted one pretty early into the ground, and then the other one went a little bit later, so I had it for a little bit longer into the season after my carrots came up. These are all carrots. It was about half of the bed for carrots. Then for my beans, I had pole beans instead of bush beans, which I prefer bush beans, but I didn't have the space, so I used pole beans, and I ended up getting 12. And then my cucumbers, I also trellised, and I ended up getting 8 cucumbers because I was able to make the vine go up on the trellis.
And now that I'm finished planning out my garden, I got to do the next fun thing, which was order the seeds. And here I am opening those boxes.
Okay. Got some seeds. Let's see what was in this first box. Peanut seeds. I believe there's 2 of those. Yep. Okay, and then here's box number 2. Okay, loofahs. Beans, more beans, and beans. So we'll see which ones of these I decide to use in my shell bean place.
I'm excited to share this journey with you guys. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. See you next time.